When should you consider flipping a home? Some of us going into investments with that being the main goal, and others end up considering it as an alternative exit strategy. Numbers play a huge role in this, and we carve out some great examples that'll help you better understand the fix and flip structure.
Oh, what a morning it is. So we've got a bunch of questions here, but this one I think looks good. When should you consider flipping a house? Mm-hmm. And that's a question I think we get a fair amount here at LFG, and it's a good question. I think it's going to be dependent on each individual and each individual property. So where are you at with your investing career and your knowledge base and your network base? And and what are you prepared for? What are you prepared to do?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, first off, when you're going to decide if you're going to flip a house, you need to know your strategy.
Sure.
You need to have the right people around you. You need to be able to have maybe a mentor. Good reason to call us because we can help you figure out how is that going to work?
Yeah.
How are the numbers looking?
Yeah.
Because in this market, you obviously, if you are going to do a fix and flip off the bat because you know the numbers make sense, then you need to, within the next 30, 60 days, do your rehab, get it done, and then you need to go and put it back on the market because that's what the market is demanding for.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head as far as like having people and having a good, and kind of what I was saying, the network base is that is a major part of real estate is that it's a team sport. Mm-hmm. You have to go out and you have to meet people, right? And specifically you want to meet the people that are going to help you with your project. Mm-hmm. So local RIAs, real estate investment associations. Every major market has one. If they don't have one, then it's great to start your own because then you get to be the center of it. But they typically meet monthly. But this is a great place to meet your contractors, to meet your lawyers, your accountants, anybody that's connected to real estate. Be hanging out at these real estate meetups. Yeah. They're usually in the evenings. They're usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. If you're in Columbus, definitely give us a shout and we can point you to all the good ones. Mm-hmm. But I think that's like the very first step is making sure that you have a team in place and people that you can call on and talk to.
Absolutely. Yeah. So anytime I talk to somebody and they say, hey, I'm thinking about fixing and flipping, I'm going to say, okay, do you have a realtor? First, we need to start off is what kind of area do you want to look in? What kind of area do you want to start doing this? Because obviously Columbus is very hot. A lot of people are coming here to want to fix and flip or fix and hold, have their rental properties. So definitely having those sphere of people around you so that you can figure out those numbers. Mm-hmm. And so I always tell people, hey, if you have a property in mind, send me the address. Send me how much, if you have a contractor go on there with you, how much do they think it's going to cost to do the rehab? And then I can help you take that purchase price and I can take that rehab, add it together and divide it into what the realtor thinks the ARV is going to be. Mm-hmm. Because that's how we can figure out that sweet spot we talk about, that 70%. So then we can see, is this a property I want to fix and flip? Is this a property I want to hold? So those are the conversations that we can have together when we do this.
You mentioned 70%. 70% of what?
70%. So you're going to take your purchase price and you're going to take your rehab. Let's say it's $100,000 purchase price, and the rehab's going to cost $20,000. Take that $120,000 and you divide it into what the adjusted rate value is going to be, and maybe you can help with your realtor can help you with that. We can also help you with finding that information for you, but you're going to take that $120,000 and let's say the ARV is $170,000. $120,000 into the $170,000, you're going to make sure that you're in that 70% for that ARV to figure out if it's going to be good enough of a flip. It's going to be a good investment for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think to put it another way, if you're 70% of ARV, and that's going to be, well, let me step back. The question is when should you flip the house? Yeah. So if you're buying a house and you're going to be rehabbing it, right? You're going to figure out what your purchase price is, what your rehab budget is, what your ARV is, or your after repair value.
Yeah. If you take that purchase price, plus your cost to renovate, which you add those two up, and you're going to divide it into what the value is going to be after the repair. Yeah. If you figure out between those two numbers that you're going to be at that 70 percentile, then hey, after my expenses, after everything's said and done, I'm going to be making a profit off of this.
Yeah.
And those are the numbers you have to run with like somebody like us.
Yeah.
You need somebody to be in your back pocket to figure that out.
If
you're flipping it. Yeah.
Yeah. So because some of the expenses that you're going to have in there that people don't often think about is
you might tear out the wall and there might be, termites or something.
Yeah.
So you don't know until you're in the house that it's going to be a good return. So
Yes.
you might not make that decision
yes.
until after you've gone into the house and done repairs. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just you go into it, hey, this is a good
Yeah.
purchase, but then after that you
So
figure it out.
I think the big question about whether to flip a house is how much money do you have into it? And a good way to figure out like how much money you're going to leave in the house is when you take the ARV and you take 70% of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is, let's assume that that's going to be your total loan amount for a BRRRR, for a buy, when you're buying, you're rehabbing, you're renting, you're refinancing, and you're repeating, right?
Right.
So if you're at so let's say that you buy something for $100,000 and you put $50,000 into it, and it ARVs for $200,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So the maximum loan to value ratio to refinance that and keep it as a buy and hold is going to be 75% loan to value.
Right.
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 So that's $150,000. So you're right on the money. But that also doesn't include any costs as far as the loan is concerned.
Yeah.
So you're going to pay closing costs and origination and title fees and things like that.
Realtor costs,
All those types of costs.
Yeah.
So what was your total loan amount to buy the property and to rehab it? That's the first question.
Yeah.
And if you only owe, let's say, $120,000 on it, but you can refinance for $150,000. Now you've got $30,000 worth of spread to play with.
Yeah.
Right? So let's say it's $10,000 to refinance the property. Okay, now you're the $120 that you owe plus the $10,000 to refinance it. So now you're at $130,000, but we're giving you a loan for $150,000.
Right.
So you've got $20,000 that you're putting back in your pocket at the end. Now, maybe you put money down. You probably put money down to start that project at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So assuming that you did that, maybe you're just repaying yourself and you're recycling that money, in which case maybe that's a good opportunity to keep it.
Right.
But if you don't have, what we're seeing more and more now is people are getting into houses, they're doing the rehab, and they're looking at the numbers and they realize, oh man, my rehab was more expensive than what I thought.
Yeah.
Or the ARV isn't quite where I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So that's when you have to really consider like, okay, should I be selling it? But I think once you've actually done the work, that's a good point to step back and really figure out what your best strategy is, because then you know what the real numbers are and you know what it's actually going to be.
Yeah. Well, because we know it takes research and it takes knowledge. And so it's being able to learn from the get-go from your team of people who you're around so that you can make a decision. Hey, am I going to flip this house or am I going to keep it? So those are different things that go into making that decision.
The funny thing is what is it? What's the old saying? Like, humans make plans and God laughs. It's kind of like that with flipping, right? So you might go into a property and you might have a plan, but things can happen. Things change. Maybe there's termites. Maybe there's a foundation issue that you didn't realize before. Yeah. And so the big thing is working with LFG is we can help you pivot. So if you go in with the thought that you're going to buy this house, you're going to fix it up and you're going to flip it, but wait a minute, this isn't going to work as a flip. We need to keep it, or something that we wanted to keep and now we want to sell it. Either way, we're there for you. We're there to help you out, and we can help you find a solution.
Absolutely. Because obviously the goal is to buy low, sell high. But to be able to go and do any of those things of flipping a house obviously takes a lot of hard work and patience, and it takes money. And we are just here so that we can, help people get to that point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.